time.
Fantasy.
Yeah. Time.
To take a special kind of man to wear an elf suit, and by golly, I'm that man. All right.
This is amazing. TSS Fantasy. This is like an orgasm. If I had a cigarette, I'd smoke it. I'm pumped to be here. This is the show of shows.
It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time.
How the fuck you got me up this damn early, Jason?
It's time.
I use mayo over sour cream, yeah.
Right. That's because you have high cholesterol. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy.
Yeah! Let's go!
Exciting night tonight, indeed. We got the draft coming up. Always exciting NFL news, as always. Let's kick it around to my tag team partners, as I heard earlier. Justin Herrera, welcome to the studio. Bionic elbow.
Oh, man. I feel like I'm a part of like a legendary wrestling team, man. This walkout, my tag team partner. I'm calling him from the back. Woo! Yeah, it's good to be in here, man. Fucking ready to talk some football, guys. Ready to talk some football.
Indeed, football. It feels like it's football season with voluntary camp starting up. Let's welcome in, speaking of wrestling intros, Fred the Animal, the Jester Ray. See how it's like George the Animal Steel.
Listen, I'm starting to look like George. I ain't gonna lose my hair and everything, but check this out. I'm just not hair. Listen, man, I love this NFL season. I love the short off season. A lot of talk going on right now, and it's the off season. So 2 more weeks to draft. Let's go Jets, baby. Let's go.
Indeed. I don't know how far the Jets are going to go, but let's welcome into the studio, Nick, you got Flandered Macaronis.
Yeah. Let's get it. It's an early edition, folks. And I just got 2 words for you. Dallas sucks.
All righty.
I'm with that.
Starting off strong indeed. Well, again, we got to get things started. Don't forget, visit us, tssfantasy.com. All of our latest and greatest on there, including links to our merchandise. We got T-shirts, hats, whatever you want. We got it. Check it out for TSS. We'll have some new stuff coming soon. Waiting on that. We'll see how long that takes. Designs by Christine.
Coming soon, baby. Coming soon.
Indeed. All right. Also, we got links to Belly Up. We have all the great podcasts on there. Your wrestling to racing. We got it all for you. So make sure you check out all of our great fellow podcasters, if you will. Don't forget as well to visit Underdog Fantasy. Sign up. All the NBA basketball is going on right now. You could win a ton of money, easy money, and we'll double your deposit. So put in $100, it's $200. Who knows what you could win? You go away that night with $2,000. Who knows what you could win? All types of way to win money. Check it out. Use the code TSS when you sign up. We got you covered. We are the fantasy show of the people.
The people.
All right, let's get things started out. We got some news. Jarvis Landry visiting the Saints. I love Jarvis as a former America's team member. Great football player. I don't know what to make of him in New Orleans. Kick it around fantasy-wise, though. Justin, you're here first. Tell me what you think of Jarvis if he does sign in New Orleans fantasy-wise. Where do you think he's at?
Shoot. Man, he's back where he needs to be, back in the 13th, 14th round. I mean, if we're talking about Michael Thomas going in like the 9th, 8th 8th, 9th round. I mean, come on. We can't ideally be thinking the same type of guy is going to be going before him or even in the same round, especially if he's going to be number 2. I think this is more of a beneficial if it comes down to it to Jameis Winston, because he's going to have 2 mid-level threats that are both capable, both can like take it to the house from wherever they're at, both can get yards after the catch. But as far as Michael Thomas or Jarvis Landry's situation, I kind of downgrades them in my opinion.
Yeah. All right. Well, Fred, what do you think?
Fantasy wise, yeah, I kind of agree. I wouldn't take him till maybe the 10th, 11th round. I just don't see it. I mean, you're gonna have maybe Winston back there. You have Kamara getting touches, Michael Thomas getting touches. Whoever their tight end is gonna get touches. So, fantasy wise, it's really nothing. But I think it helps the team. I think that makes the team better. So I think the Saints stay competitive to and even make the playoffs.
Nice. All right, Nick, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same sentiments as my tag team partners over here. What I like about Jarvis Landry is, he's like definition football player. I mean, he's tough. He doesn't complain. He goes out, he does his job. He can fit into any offense. Like, he is a solid help me out guy. Now, as far as fantasy goes, yeah, bottom 13 to 15 round, he might be that diamond that you might steal in your last pick in the 16th round. But now he's not a legitimate 10 to 15 point guy anymore. Well, he never really was, but I mean, he doesn't have the potential anymore. Like, he can give you a solid 5 to 7 points average.
Jarvis Landry, you are Nick's diamond girl. Let's go on to receivers. A lot of big news going on. AJ Brown changing, all of his social media. Deebo Samuel wanting to trade. A lot going on with these big name receivers. What are you guys' thoughts on this? I know we were talking about earlier in our chat. Let's get it out there. What do we know, and what do we think is going on with the big name receivers? Nick, we're going to start with you first on this one, because I know I got a big Flander comment coming.
Well, I'm going to live up to my get off my lawn attitude, because I'll tell you what, these freaking brats, man, you're getting paid to play pro football. And I said it before in the pregame chats, everything. You got to blame the real villain here in this whole thing is the stupid Jacksonville Jaguars for setting the bar for an unproven, up-and-coming slot receiver in Christian Kirk. I mean, I'm not trying to slam Christian Kirk, but he's not worth that contract. Now you got every freaking receiver who thinks he's better, and quite frankly is better than Christian Kirk, say, where's my money? Where's my money? So then they go to the old resort, slam my rattle. Well, I'm going to take my toys and I'm going to take down all my social media stuff. I don't like the negotiation in public. Do it in private. If you think you're worth more money, do it in private. But I'm also the same school of, you signed a contract. Live up to your contract. It isn't, well, let's see how I do in my last year. Let's tear it up and negotiate. And I'm going to sit out because, damn it, I feel like it. No, you signed the contract. Own it.
So, like I said, a Flander comment, ding, dangly doodly. Fred, what do you think?
Oh man, I can't believe I'm about to agree with Flanders. I have to agree with him. Everybody was happy until they seen the big contracts being doled out. I mean, AJ Brown. Do you really want to complain on the Tennessee Titans? You just made the playoffs. Do you really want to start all the foolishness? Deebo Samuel, you looked really good last year because they acclimated you to the offense. Exactly. They tailored to you. I mean, nobody knew what was gonna happen. So now, since you have one good year, now you want big money contract. Oh, now you want to force a trade. You want to take down your Instagram. I don't know what's up with taking down Instagram. People take that shit down every other day and put it back up. I don't know why people really care about that. But they see, everybody sees green envy in their eyes. Everybody wants to be like the next guy. I mean, give us Deebo Samuel especially. Give us a couple of years in San Francisco of doing it, 2-3 years, and then force it. But you want to trade? I mean, and listen, don't get me wrong. I'm a Jets fan. We need a wide receiver. Well, I mean, but I think how they're doing it is wrong. Play out the contract and then go and get your money.
All right, Justin, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to reiterate what Nick said, and I'm going to start off like he said in the last one. I agree with my tag team partners over here because when DK Metcalf is the most mature person in the building and says, hey, yeah, I'll go with voluntary workouts. We're still going to work out a contract, but I'm still going to show up for my voluntary workouts, get in my program and stay with my team and get to know my new quarterback. Yeah. That kind of tells you about the kind of like the vibe that we've got going around the NFL nowadays. Like my comrades have said here, when you are sending a message by taking down social media stuff, what are you really sending a message of? That, like Nick said, you're a brat, that you're a diva, that you're everything that we didn't want from Terrell Owens. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, listen, I love Deebo Samuel. I got his jersey, his signed jersey up in my bedroom, but that man needs to get over himself for 1 second. Now, it was not right, the death threats that came his way. That is not right whatsoever.
Never.
And freaking the Niner fan base, they're going to need to apologize for that. But at the end of the day, you signed a contract. You're a second-round pick. You have one good year. Now, it was an amazing year, but it's still just one good year. You have an injury history to beat at that, and you're playing a position at wide back where you're bound to get hurt again. So for those reasons, Deebo, you should just kind of be looking at this like, hey, they're going to get it done eventually. They just kind of need to figure out their cap space right now. Don't take it personally. Go work hard. Go get stronger. Go make your body durable so it can take the hits at wide back. Because if you're going to play that position, you need to take the hits.
Big words from our Niner insider. Nick, real quick, we got to get moving. We got guests awaiting. What else do you got, sir?
Justin, did I hear you correctly? Wide back. Did you just coin a new position name in pro football? Wide back.
Look out for it.
We had a girl in high school, and her nickname was Wide Back. I don't know if you.
Wide back. Just wait. You know what?
You don't want to know.
That's awesome. I am so glad that's how I get to introduce my wife. Let's go to MJ Sidebar.
Those who will not live by the law shall die by the law.
Your Honor, may I approach the bench, please?
Excuse my friend's behavior, Miss Mary Jane Cooper Esquire. Welcome to the studio.
Hold on,
Thank
Jason,
you. And I assume
you've been
the
kicked
wide
out of your
back comment
podcast
is
studio.
not. What's that?
He's been kicked out of his podcast studio in the kitchen to the garage. I think after that comment, he's going to be in the car finding a new place to live.
I didn't hear it like you heard it. I
Right.
heard it like
Was it with
you
love?
were dissing women and
Right.
that he was going to hear it from me.
Exactly.
Which,
Thank you.
Flanders, shame on you.
Thank you. That's exactly
that was
how I
one
went.
woman in particular, not all women, but go ahead.
All right, well, let's get things
Regardless.
started with a rude comment to get it started. Let's go with what we got going on in the league. Lots of fun stuff in the legal side. What do we got going on? Let us know.
All right. Well, so last week, Justin asked what's going on with Alvin Kamara. So I did look into that. So if you haven't heard, the running back from the Saints, Alvin Kamara, and the cornerback from the Kansas City Chiefs, Chris Lamons, they're co-defendants in a case. Basically, what happened was they were getting onto an elevator with two other guys, and some guy was, I guess, trying to get on the elevator. This is the alleged victim. And he, I guess, motioned to like come in. And then he was told like no by Alvin Kamara. And then the guy pushed. And then he got the smackdown from like allegedly Alvin Kamara and Chris Lamons gave him the smackdown. Once they got him on the ground, they are being accused of stomping him in his head. He has facial fractures and contusions, which is just a fancy word for bruises, but it sounds worse. And so they are set to go in front of a justice of the peace, which is kind of like a magistrate here in Florida, on April 25th. So very soon. This happened on Valentine's Day. They were arrested, and they're both facing felony charges of battery causing great bodily harm, which is a serious felony here in Florida, and a serious felony, obviously, there. They're also being charged with conspiracy to commit battery, and that is just what the state wanting to charge them with, like the two of them acted in concert together to beat this guy up. So there is evidence that they still have not received, but there is alleged to be video, surveillance footage. There's also obviously witness statements from especially the alleged victim in the case. And this apparently actually happened on February 5th at 6:30 a.m. And he played in the February 6th Pro Bowl game, like the very next day. So anyway, apparently police have seen the surveillance footage, and it does show that the alleged victim stepped toward the elevator with the four men. Kamara put his hand on the man's chest to stop him, and the man then pushed his hand away. And at that point, Lamons punched him, and that's how the whole altercation went down. That's how it started. Once he was unconscious, they are alleged to have stomped his face, chest, legs, and he has head injuries and stuff. So I think we'll hear more after the 25th with this hearing that's coming up. So I guess stay tuned for that.
Wow. Big stuff. Do you think, so what do you think his chances of getting any kind of suspension are?
Well, I mean, if this were my case, the first physical contact happened when Alvin Kamara was just trying to stop the guy from coming in the elevator. There may be other facts. Like, for example, in Florida, in a lot of buildings, there's a 4-person maximum. So there could be a defense of like he was just trying to stop him and the guy pushed him. So the initial aggressive contact came from the victim. So this is, I mean, the defense would be self-defense. He pushed, we swung. You know what I mean? However, you know, at the end of the day, apparently he was unconscious when they continued and didn't stop. So, you know, in Florida, you don't have a right. I mean, you don't have any kind of limitation. You can use force, and as long as you're not the aggressor in the situation, I think what it's gonna turn on is who was the aggressor. If this guy is seen to be the initial aggressor and he seems to be aggressive, then I think that it'll probably pan out as, you know, Alvin and
Chris,
what's his name? Lamons.
Lamons,
They both need to look into maybe striking a deal. I think if they do plea to this, then more than likely there will be a suspension coming. If, for example, this guy is seeking damages, it doesn't say anything about a civil suit, but I would imagine that one might be forthcoming. But if criminal charges aren't filed, I think they could still potentially face a civil suit because it's a breach of the code of conduct for the NFL. So I would say more than likely, I believe incidents like this are usually 2 to 4 game suspensions. So I would say that might be coming down the pipeline. So just stay tuned.
Wow. Big news coming up this season. All right. What else do we got going on?
Okay. So what else we have going on? So there was another arrest. Well, no, it's not an arrest. He's not yet facing criminal charges, but Kelvin Joseph. So Kelvin Joseph was out at a club with some friends, and apparently they are alleged to have been involved in an incident with some other people at the club. So they're walking through the parking lot. They're seen getting into like a scuffle, then it breaks up. Then they go their way. There's allegedly surveillance footage showing an SUV driving out of the club, that is alleged to be the shooter's vehicle. And that is the vehicle that they believe that Kelvin Joseph was a passenger in. So there were 4 men in this vehicle. And from this vehicle, someone shot and fatally killed a 20-year-old guy. This happened on March the 18th. If you don't know, you're about to find out. But if you're in a vehicle and someone shoots from that vehicle, everyone in that vehicle is responsible, just like the shooter in the state of Florida. Many states are the same. You are held as what's called a principal. Now, if, for example, you can prove that you were fighting the shooter, trying to get the gun off of him, and there was a struggle and you tried to stop it, you could potentially get out of that. But it's a high bar to prove. So the attorney for Kelvin Joseph did release a statement. And right now he's just named as a person of interest in the investigation, but they are looking into talking to him. The man who was killed, his name was Cameron Ray. And I think that's important to note just because, rest in peace to that guy. But Kelvin Joseph did issue a public apology to the family of the victim. And he already retained a criminal defense attorney, which was smart. That doesn't mean that you're guilty, people. That's what you're supposed to do. And he did release a statement saying he didn't shoot Cameron Ray and he was unarmed. He just, quote, found himself in a situation that escalated without his knowledge. Obviously, the NFL is going to investigate this like they do because code of conduct. But the team has also released a statement saying, giving their condolences to the family and saying that they're aware and they will cooperate with law enforcement and any potential NFL investigation.
Some pretty serious stuff. Thank you for bringing the mood down. We do appreciate it.
That's what I'm here for.
That's my job.
No, you just piss people off, Nick.
You got hey, that's what I'm here for.
With your
Mary Jane.
Female comments. No one wants to do that.
I said
I'm
it was
telling
one
Wendy,
female.
by the way, I will be sending her a text.
Oh,
You have her number? If not, I'll
Yes.
give it to you.
He's getting told on. Miss Mary Jane Cooper, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. We have a guest coming to us all the way from the Middle East. Don't want to make him wait too much longer. We got a lot of draft stuff to cover, but we'll have you in next week, and we appreciate your time.
All right, bye.
See ya, Miss Mary Jane Cooper. All right.
You know what?
Yes, sir.
I never understand how millionaires in the public eye always find themselves to get in stupid ass trouble. I just don't understand it. I was like, why am I going to beat up a little dude in an elevator and have jump on this man? Of course there's cameras. There's cameras everywhere. Why would I do this? Oh my, I'm going to have to pay this fool.
I may shed some light on this.
Oh boy.
Here's what I think would happen. I think the fan, the aggressor, recognized who it was, and he was probably drunk, and said, you know what, let me punk Alvin Kamara, and let me look cool in front of my friends. That's probably what happened. And I'll bet you Alvin Kamara said, no. So that's what happened. But again, I mean, nobody wants to be punked, especially on camera. But then again, you have to be mindful of your situation. Just like what happened with Kelvin Joseph. I don't have a formal opinion. I don't have a formal opinion on it, but it just seems like Dallas being Dallas, drafting all these high quality characters that surround themselves with their friends who they don't want to disassociate with because they don't want to look as what's that word?
But I'm gonna tell my friend, dude, you know who I am? Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing right now?
I don't want to give too much away for season 2, but I got something special planned for Nick, and this is like a good time.
They did their best. Diddly, diddly, diddly. Gotta be nice. Hostility, diddly, diddly, diddly. Oh, hell, diddly, ding, dong, crap. Can't you morons do anything right?
Season 2 is going to be lit. All right, let's take a quick break.
That's not been funny, but that was just hilarious.
We got to talk about the draft. All right, let's take a quick break.
You put them up, reach the skies as the stars up above, cause it's one time for the underdog, one time for the underdog.
Fred didn't know it was going to be a quick break tonight. I didn't want to break. You're way too long. All right, let's hit it. Here we go. Let's talk about the draft. Uke, what is up, my brother? Welcome into the studio, sir.
How are you doing, guys? Thank you for having me.
No, we appreciate having you. I'm glad Fred made it back at least in time. So we got the big draft coming up. We got our big expert in. Coolest thing ever is that this guy is coming all the way from Israel. That's cool as hell, bro. We appreciate you coming in. Welcome to the studio, bro.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, you want to talk about Good Morning Football for a second with Kyle Brand and Peter Schrager. Right now, it is 4:30 a.m. for me. This is the real Good Morning Football right here.
You're coming from Tel Aviv. I just looked it up on my phone. It is 4:37. You are dedicated, my friend.
This is why I was trying to speed things up. I didn't want to make the man wait. He got up early for us, so let's not waste his time.
Or did he ever go to bed?
Let's go into the draft. I'm going to bring up your mock draft. We'll basically just kind of go through it, get your thoughts on the picks, and we'll get the fantasy impacts as well. Kick it around to the fellas, get your thoughts also. I sent it to you guys earlier, so let's see if you guys differ in any way. I want to challenge you, especially look at his ass. He needs some coffee right now. Poor guy.
Yeah, I could use a coffee, but
so go ahead and piss him the fuck off. I dare you. So
wow.
Let's talk about round 1 real quick. And my bad. Speaking of pissing him off, I spelled his name wrong also, like an asshole. So my apologies there too, my brother. Anyway, let's go ahead. First pick of the draft. Let's go in and your thoughts on where is he going and why.
So obviously the big hype right now with the first overall pick is the whole Aiden Hutchinson versus Trayvon Walker thing. I just think that that's a little bit crazy. And I'm a little bit higher on Trayvon Walker than most other analysts. Everyone's kind of hating on that pick, saying that he can't possibly go that early. And I get it. He had very little production in Georgia. And he's also is going to be changing position. He played primarily in the 5-tech, where it's basically you line up right on the inside of the offensive tackle. And when he moves to NFL, they're probably going to switch him out to pure edge, where he lines up on the outside. So he's not only changing position a little bit, but he had very little production at Georgia. I just feel like it's crazy to have a sort of a projection, a potential draft pick, and take him with number 1 overall. Number 1 overall, you got to get someone who you know is going to produce, not someone you think has potential. So I just think first overall is really high for Trayvon Walker. I think he's still going to go top 3 just because of the hype about him. But I don't think at 1, if they can pass on Aiden Hutchinson. He's the number 1 player in this draft. He's not only is he a crazy athlete just like Trayvon Walker, but he also has the production, and it's very clear and in interviews with him and things like that, he is a game changer. He's someone who can come in and change the culture in your defense, which is something the Jaguars desperately need. I just think it's got to be Hutchinson at that pick.
Any of you guys differ and have a strong case for someone else at the number 1 slot? Yeah, you can.
Chime in.
Yes, sir. Nick.
I think Jacksonville should do every NFL prospect a favor and just defer, because every time they bring a player in, they ruin his career. And if Aiden Hutchinson goes there, he'll be washed out. But no, I mean, you cannot go wrong with Aiden Hutchinson. It's a good quality, solid pick, and it's not at a high risk position.
Guys, anyone differ? Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
You don't think Iwanku should go first, especially with Trevor Lawrence being the quarterback to protect him on that left tackle? I know they franchised their left tackle, but they could move him to right, and you'll have a stout offensive line protecting Trevor Lawrence, especially to get the ball to their new Christian Kirk.
So I think you could do that. I before they franchised their left tackle Cam Robinson, like you said, I was projecting them to get like an Evan Neal or Ikem Ekwonu. I just feel like not only is Ekwonu not really a locked in first overall pick, like there's a certain caliber I feel like you need to hit if you want to be selected number one overall, and I don't think Ekwonu is that. But I feel like they also, I don't remember who it was, but they signed a free agent offensive guard. So they've invested now in their offensive line. And I don't think that you franchise your left tackle and sign a free agent. And then also with number one overall pick, which is a rare pick to have, go and draft another offensive lineman.
But you're good with the Lions at 2 taking Trayvon Walker, though.
Define good, my man. I don't know. I feel like it's going to happen. It's just, the reports are they don't love Kayvon Thibodeau because of his attitude and things like that, and they're not going to take him at 2. So I just feel like who do they take it to? They have a really good offensive line, drafting Penei Sewell last year, so they're not going to go with one of the tackles. I just feel like the only guy that's left who's of that caliber right now is Trayvon Walker, and I'm not a fan of him going that early, but I feel like it's going to happen.
I mean, he's a freak athlete. I think they're building a different culture in Detroit, so I do like the pick there. Texans going with the tackle to protect David Mills.
Yeah, so I feel like this is something that a lot of people aren't discussing right now. But one of my favorite things in the draft when I make mock drafts is having the Texans go offensive lineman at 3 and then wide receiver at 13, because they can probably get the number one offensive lineman at 3 and then the number one wide receiver at 13, most likely. And they've made it very clear a lot of times that they really like Davis Mills. And I think we can all agree Davis Mills came in and performed way better than a lot of people thought he would. I think they drafted him in the 3rd round or in the late 2nd, something like that. So he came in and he performed really well, especially with a garbage team like the Texans. And I just feel like maybe if they like him, give him a shot, give him a little bit of protection, give him someone to throw to, just a little bit. It's not like they have dire needs on defense. They have dire needs everywhere. So just draft someone on offense and give him a shot.
Speaking of a team with dire needs, let's go on to the next pick. The New York Jets suck. What do you have them getting? Sucky ass draft.
So I honestly don't know. The Jets could go in so many directions here. They could go Kayvon Thibodeau if he's there, or Trayvon Walker if he's there. They might even go with one with like a Evan Neal or a Ekwonu if he's there. They might even go Stingley or a Sauce Gardner if he's there. There's a lot of options here. I just feel like, I would love them taking offensive linemen, especially for Zach Wilson. I'm a huge Zach Wilson fan. I think Zach Wilson's going to break out this coming year. And I just feel like the best course of action is probably to take an offensive lineman. But I think that there's a chance that they get one at 10 where they're not going to get one of these big 3 pass rushers at 10. There's 3 difference makers in this edge rusher draft class, and the Jets desperately need some pass rush. There's only 3 difference makers, and once you move out of the top 5, they're not going to get one of them.
I totally agree with this guy. And they're going to Thibodeau. We got Bit Becton. We got Fine. We got Vera Tucker last year. We just got the guy from San Francisco. Hold off on the lineman. Get that edge rusher that Robert Saleh loves.
There we go. Jets fan seal of approval.
I love this guy.
Yeah, there you go. All
that
right.
Doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything.
Well, usually in the draft, you don't usually get cheered a lot in New York, so you're starting off right, my friend. All right, speaking of New York, I don't think we really need to talk about the next pick. It's kind of obvious. They need line help, so that's kind of, quite frankly, it's easy speasy. The next best offensive lineman the Giants are going to take for sure. Let's go on to the first fantasy impact, if you will, pick we have with the Panthers.
So, yeah, this is a little bit of a big pick right now. I'll be honest. I am not a Kenny Pickett fan at all. He's my quarterback 5 in my rankings. I don't like him. So when I was making this mock draft, I figured I'd try to go with what I think might happen rather than what I think should happen. What I think should happen is going to be very different than what's going to happen. But Kenny Pickett's a little bit overrated, but just with the hype, it's going to be Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett. I feel like there's no way that the Panthers go into the season starting Sam Darnold. That would just be so wild to me. Like, if you're going to do that, just fire Matt Rule right now. Like, why even hold him off for another season? You're not going to get more than 5 or 6 wins with Sam Darnold. Just fire Matt Rule now. Restart now. Start rebuilding now. So they got to take a quarterback here, at least see if they can maybe take someone. I just feel like especially with Matt Rule and Scott, I think Scott Fontenot or Terry Fontenot, their general manager, they're on a very tight leash right now. And if they go with a guy like Malik Willis, who everyone projects to have a very long learning curve, then they might be kind of screwing themselves out of a job. So they should, I feel like the better move, at least for them, assuming all these quarterbacks are the way everyone hypes them up to be, or, everyone thinks that they are and not as low as I think they are, then I feel like Kenny Pickett is probably the move because he's more pro-ready than a guy like Malik Willis. And also there's ties there with Temple back with Matt Rule and Kenny Pickett originally committed to Temple. I just feel like Kenny Pickett's going to be the pick here. I don't like it, but it's going to be the pick.
Yes, sir, Nick.
Okay, couple things. I agree with you in the sense that Kenny Pickett, I think in my personal opinion, he is the biggest risk of this entire draft. Number one, I've been saying this since we've been talking about the draft. I don't think he's a number one. I don't think he's a first round pick. I think he's a low 2, mid 3, and I've been hearing it from the experts on TV. I watch it whenever I watch him play. I don't think he's that good as far as where he's going to get picked. I think the only place he's going to get picked is because of need, because the quarterback pool is so dry this year. Now, I was told that you wanted some nice challenging questions. So I'm going to throw one at you right now. There's a rumor that the Panthers are highly interested in Baker Mayfield. If this deal goes through, which I think is a stupid ass deal, but if the deal goes through, where would you take? Who do you think the Panthers would take with their first pick, regardless if they stayed at 6?
So it would have to be one of the big 3 offensive tackles. They would stay at 6 because, they can still probably get one of the big 3. They're either going to get Neal or Cross or Ekwonu. Probably not Ekwonu, but one of the 2, one of the 3.
Bless you, Jason.
And so they're going to have to take that. To be honest, offensive tackle left tackle might even be a bigger need for them than quarterback. They have no protection on the blind side, so they got to get that set up. So if they get Baker Mayfield, not that I think that's a great move, but they definitely invest in offensive line.
And then coincidentally, what did you think about Robbie Anderson's tweet? Says no.
I think that is just a great summary of Baker Mayfield's career. I feel like that's all we have to say.
Guys, do you guys any challenge here to this Panthers pick? Would you guys go anywhere else here? Justin?
No. Panthers are going to be stupid with this pick anyways. That's kind of how that organization has run for the past 3 years. So I would not be surprised if Pickett is the pick because they're just, like he said, Rule's fighting for his job right now. And he's got to figure it out somehow. So Kenny Pickett, if he's the answer, I actually would not mind Baker Mayfield. He is the answer because then you can actually make a smart pick and get a tackle like you all said.
Brad, what do you think?
I think you go Evan Neal. I think you need that left tackle start to help boost your franchise. I heard today Ben McAdoo said Darnold is our starter and retracted saying, "Oh, I was not supposed to say that. I'm not supposed to speak to the media and say these type of things." I think it's gonna, for you. Yeah. I'm like, because you just overruled Matt Rule. You didn't even ask him, and he's like, "Yeah, he's our quarterback." So already you know it's going to be Darnold. They're interested in Baker. If I'm Carolina, you still got McCaffrey. You got some receivers. Take the offensive tackle. You need line help. Don't fall for Pickett. I mean, I know he's probably gonna, like he said, he might go 6, but he doesn't deserve to be 6.
All right, everyone here is Nostradamus, to say the least. All right, here we go on to the next. So I guess, I don't know if that's a typo if I did it right. Giants got 2 first-round picks?
Yes.
Yeah,
they do.
Wow. All right, so you think they're going tackle and cornerback. Let's talk about that.
Well, they could really go in a lot of directions. But I think that, especially with tackle, I think that's a little bit surprising to a lot of people to see Charles Cross over Evan Neal. But there's been a lot of buzz about the Giants really liking Charles Cross, and they went to his pro day and they've been raving about him, sort of like the Steelers with Malik Willis at the Senior Bowl. So I really like Charles Cross over Evan Neal just for the Giants. I think Evan Neal's better, but I feel like that's the way the Giants are going to go. And then if they get Ahmad Gardner at 7, that's going to be a steal. This guy is one of the 3 best players in the draft. He is I would say one of one corner, but you got Derek Stingley in this draft, but he is just special with the speed that he runs and the length that he has, and he's so smooth and so locked down, and everyone's going to keep bringing up he didn't give up a touchdown in his entire college football career. So I feel like that's a big thing. Like, you can't pass on Sauce Gardner for that long, and they're going to need a corner. So I don't see how they can go any other direction here.
Indeed. All right. Well, pretty much the rest of this round is boring as hell. Other than the dumbass JETS.
The Jets, baby.
Another pick. How do these guys get 2 first-round picks?
Thank you, Seattle.
Let's go on to – let's talk about the Jets real quick because, again, 2 first round, in the top 10 picks. You think they're going tackle here?
Yes, I think what's going to be crazy is that the Jets, if they take Evan Neal at 4th overall, no one's going to say that's too early for Evan Neal. So if they have managed to get a Kayvon Thibodeau at 4 and then also Evan Neal at 10, that would be a dream scenario for the Jets. I don't know if that's going to happen. It's just the way I kind of like played out this mock draft. That's just how the board fell. I don't see the couple teams ahead of them prioritizing taking a guy like Evan Neal. I'm actually not a huge fan of Evan Neal. I just feel like his tape was really not that good, and everyone talks about his great, crazy, athletic potential. This guy is so big and he moves so smooth. But at the end of the day, if you played for 3 years under Nick Saban, who is probably one of the better guys and coaches and producing and developing young talent, and you still didn't play to the level of that matches your potential, then I don't see how he's going to be drafted and go to a team like with a coach like Robert Saleh or some guy that caliber, and then he is going to be able to develop him into some crazy starter. So I'm not a huge fan of Evan Neal, but I feel like if you were to just not look at my personal big board and look at the analyst big board, getting Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal at 4 and 10, that would be just a dream for them.
Yeah, so I'm glad you don't like them, and I'm glad you got them taking the Jets taking them. All right, Fred, what do you think?
I'm hoping Sauce Gardner falls to 10. That's my real pick. I want to go defense, Thibodeau, Gardner. If not, I still don't believe we take the Evan Neal. I think we go with either Drake London or Wilson. We need a receiver, and I like London. He's 6'4", really tall. We need to get Zach Wilson. Don't get me wrong. I hope we get A.J. Brown or Deebo Samuel, but if we don't, I say Drake London because we need somebody to help Zach Wilson.
So I'll just tell you what I think about that is that I'll be honest. I love Zach Wilson. He was last year, and this is going to be a little bit hot takey, but he was my QB1 in the draft ahead of Trevor Lawrence. I really like Zach Wilson. I think that this guy is a playmaker. All right. The problem is if you don't give him the proper protection, that he's going to be running around too much and he's going to make too many mistakes. And that's exactly what happened in his rookie year. So they have guys like Mekhi Becton, George Fant, but Mekhi Becton keeps getting injured. This is his 3rd season, or I think he's going into his 4th season already. And his 3rd, he has barely done anything. So, and there have been rumors that the Jets don't really, connect with a guy like that who keeps getting injured, and they want to draft someone instead of him. If they get a guy like Evan Neal, who's played in guard a bunch of times at Alabama, they can pop him into guard and then, boost the protection in front of Zach Wilson. I just feel like you got to build around Zach Wilson. Yeah, their defense is bad, but you got to develop him. If you give him 2 years of throwing 15 plus interceptions, he's not gonna develop into a great talent. You got to protect him early.
For the sake of any audience we might have left, let's move on from New York Jets football and talk about some other teams that actually can do something. How about the Commanders? You got them with Drake London. Now, this is a big fantasy impact indeed. Talk about on the other side of Scary Terry with Carson Wentz at the helm. You like Drake London here?
So, yeah, he's not my wide receiver 1, but I just feel like in terms of fit from a play style perspective, think about the wide receivers who have worked well with a guy like Carson Wentz. So back in Philadelphia, you had Alshon Jeffrey, who was a big wide receiver about the size of Drake London. Then in Indianapolis, he had a guy like Michael Pittman, who's a big wide receiver. And yeah, Michael Pittman's a little bit more smooth than Drake London, but still, it's a similar body type. So I just feel like of all the wide receivers here, they're going to go with a guy who's big, who can catch contested catches, who you could come down with those 50-50 balls. I just feel like when it comes to fit, he's the best fit. That's what's so unique about this wide receiver class is that, first of all, you could rank them all however you want. I got my top 5, and I would be happy with any order that you put those top 5 in. They're really kind of all like the same. On my big board, I feel like they're all within like 7 or 8 spots of each other, and they're 5 guys. So they could really go with any of the top wide receivers, and it's just a matter of, pick your poison. Which wide receiver do you feel like fits best in your offense?
You guys like that pick for the Commanders? Nick's got his marker up.
Yeah. No, I mean, even though that they're a division rival, I think it's a fantastic pick for them. In addition to what you said, they really need to cut bait with Curtis Samuel because that experiment just did not work. They need people. They need receivers that can stretch the field. Stretch the field, so they can open up those running lanes for Gibson. And then they got McKissick back. So I think Drake London, being his speed and his body type, I would equate him to a DK Metcalf. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's who I see the mold. And if you got him and you got Terry McLaurin on the other side, that's like Twin Towers. I mean, I think they'll be a great fit for them. But I would think if I were to go, I would have them address the defense first.
Really,
Fred,
I just feel like before Fred jumps in here, I just want to say I feel like you gotta think about Carson Wentz's career. This is his third team already. It might be over, but this is his third team. If you want this to work out, you're not going to give this a 3-year, trial period. He's got 1 year to prove it. And if you want to give him that 1 year to prove it, you got to build around him. At the end of the day, the way I see it is it looks like a lot of teams are going to go offense in this draft, and they should, because, unless you have a quarterback who you trust, who's a veteran, you got to, and he's playing well, you got to build around your young quarterback. You got to give him confidence. You got to develop him, because the quarterback leash right now in the NFL is very, very tight. And you don't want to be looking for another quarterback in a year. If you don't give Carson Wentz the chance to really go off, then what are they doing here? They'll have a great defense, but then what next year? Then they got to go find a quarterback.
My question to you was, McLaurin's already a big wide receiver. You don't think they should take Garrett Wilson at number 10 since he's more of a speedster, 6 feet tall, and maybe get open up the middle like Tyreek Hill used to do?
So another option, I would feel like if they're going speedster, it'd be Jameson Williams, who's definitely a field stretcher. He's the burner of this class, of the top of this class. But I feel like just between the two, first of all, Jameson Williams still has the ACL, so that might deter some teams away. He's still going to definitely go first round, probably even top half of the first round. I don't know if they go Jameson Williams this early because they want to build around Carson Wentz right now and not wait for someone to recover from an ACL. And I just feel like Terry McLaurin's a big wide receiver, but if you look at the play style, he's not a guy like Drake London who wins these 50-50 balls, is a contested catch, master. He's more of a finesse, route running specialist type of guy. And I just feel like Jameson Williams is also that. And the way I see it, when you're building an offense, you gotta to spread the wealth around, build your team like a basketball team, where you have lots of different types of players who can do lots of different types of things. And Drake London is a lot more different from Terry McLaurin than Jameson Williams is.
I like that.
Yeah, Jason, what we got?
Well, if he's not there,
my bad.
Okay.
I was on mute. My bad. We could have UConn for like 3 hours, like our own fantasy special, like for real. Like I didn't even realize we're not even like halfway through, and it's like 40. We're up like 13 minutes left. So let's go to the more fantasy impact relevant picks. We'll go on to we just talked about Jameis Williams, for so he's going. You got him at the Texans. Let's move on to Treylon Burks to the Eagles. How do you see him fitting in there?
So, one of my favorite picks, by the way, in this draft is Treylon Burks to the Eagles. I just feel like they got a guy like Devontae Smith, who is as lean and as skinny as they come at the wide receiver position. So they got to go for someone like a Treylon Burks, who, aside from Drake London, he is the biggest wide receiver in this class by a margin. The way he plays, he is just so big, and he plays so physical. And, especially with a guy like Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is also a big guy. You got to start building, a bowling ball of a team. You can't get all these finesse guys like Devontae Smith, or, even if Jalen Reagor produces, which nobody thinks he does. He's a small guy. You got to get size at the wide receiver position. So I love Treylon Burks, the Eagles. I'll be honest, I feel like that's a lock. They're either taking him at 15 or at 18.
Nick, you like the pick?
Oh, I personally, I love it. Now, as me being biased, I would love to have Jahan Dotson, but we don't need Jahan Dotson because of the size factor. We don't need a guy to go over the middle. We need a guy that can stretch the field. We have Devontae that can go over the middle more often than Jahan Dotson. But I think it's a fantastic pick. I think he'd fit well with Dallas Goedert as well, and he can go up for those 50-50 balls, and then he'll stretch the field, and he'll also give Jalen and company running lanes.
Yeah, let's talk about.
Say, by the way,
go ahead.
Wait, I just want to respond to Mr. Flanders over here. Just the thing with Jahan Dotson. I love
I like
Jahan
how he
Dotson.
called me Mr. Flanders.
Yeah, I take
You
that
just
back.
call him Ned.
But yeah, the problem with Jahan Dotson.
Yeah, go ahead.
The problem with Jahan Dotson is that he plays very physical, and I love his ball skills. I'm a big Jahan Dotson fan. The problem is he's 5'11". I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, he's sub 200 pounds. So when you're talking about size, maybe his play style might be very strong. Look, a guy like Jarvis Landry who plays like he's a lot bigger than he really is. But at the end of the day, I think they want like a guy like Treylon Burks. I think he's over 220 pounds.
Oh yeah,
that is a huge, almost a 30-pound difference. They got to go with that big bruiser.
Yeah, I equate Dotson to a Hill.
Yes, Justin.
Tyreek Hill?
Yes. Playing style.
I was just gonna step in. Jahan Dotson, I don't usually pick specialists in the first round. Like if you're gonna be a slot receiver specialist, I don't want you. It's like getting a nickel corner in the first round. Like, what's the whole purpose if you can't do your one job? On the Treylon Burks thing, I want him to be more physical. His game tape at Arkansas, he was all right with the ball in his hands. He has much faster game tape than his 40 implied, but he just wasn't like a physical tackle breaker like I thought he was going to be. Like you said, he's like this imposing guy at 220 pounds, but it didn't seem like he was mowing people over like everybody wants him to be Debo or something like that. So I don't know if that will play into it. His route running is also really kind of unrefined. But to your point, if you get the ball in this guy's hands, he is going to take off and he is going to make you regret it. So, I mean, that could be end arounds, that could be just short dump offs, but I think that's something that they could really use with Jalen Hurts not being the absolute, cannon arm that he is. And, Devontae Smith is, like you said, very lean. He seems like he can take a hit or two, but very lean guy. So, yeah, I like to pick up Burks, but
Burks, I equate to a Jeremy Maclin.
You gotta love the guy in the man bun letting us know about refinement. I wanted to go real quick because we're getting up against it. I didn't even put the damn team name. I guess I know I missed it, but let's talk about number 20, the Steelers. Malik Willis there, because I definitely want to hear Nick's comment about this. What do you think? What are your thoughts about him going to the Steelers?
So again, I'm not a huge Malik Willis fan at all, but I just feel like it's such a great pairing with the Steelers. Not only do they love him, but they can put him behind a guy like Mitch Trubisky and give him the time to really learn the offense, And here's what I'm going to say, since this is a fantasy podcast, I'm going to say, do not draft Malik Willis with your 101 in Superflex, because he is not going to start at the beginning or even at all in year one in his rookie year. And then once he does start, you're putting him behind, at least if he's on the Steelers, a garbage offensive line. I just feel like Malik Willis is getting way overhyped in the fantasy community. They're like, oh, he can run, so he's going to be the QB1. That's not how it works. You also need to be good. You also need to play and to start. So I like the Malik Willis pick here at 20. I don't know if he falls to 20, but for fantasy purposes, that does not make him the Superflex 101 at all.
Nick?
Calm down, diddly, 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 diddly. They did their best. Shoddly, diddly, diddly, diddly.
Are you done?
Oh, not yet.
Are you finished, or
season 2's coming? All right, let's go, bro.
Are you finished, or is you done? I mean,
He's back to the old Nick.
So yeah, I'm not crazy about Malik Willis as well, because again, by virtue of the position, the quarterbacks are getting drafted high. He's a project. I never liked teams that draft projects in the first round. Right now, if I would equate him this year in his year one, he'd be like a Cordell Stewart type quarterback with that offense, because he's not going to start over Trubisky. He's already projected to be a 3-year project, so you're going to draft him for actual gameplay because of what he can do, because you're drafting on promise. Now, fantasy wise, I would draft him, and then I'd stash him on my bench, especially in a dynasty league. That's where he
you're gonna
fits
have
best.
to draft him with the capital of someone that you're playing, not someone you're stashing. You can't stash someone with pick 101 or 102 or even 103. You got to get a primary contributors in those picks.
In a dynasty keeper league, you can do that.
In a keeper league, maybe.
Yes, sir.
So, if you're drafting Malik Willis, what team do you have to have him on where it becomes interesting? Like my team for him, if he goes to the Detroit Lions at 32, which is probably not going to happen, not even close to that happen. But if he were to do that, I would be interested in him sitting 1 year behind Goff and taking over that offense.
So, yeah, the Lions, I feel like that's probably my favorite fit for Malik Willis because, first of all, yes, like you said, it gives him that year to kind of sit back and learn. But also the Lions have a very underrated offensive line, and I feel like what they're building right now, especially if they go somewhere else at pick 2, they could really build a nice team and have Malik Willis come in and behind a good offensive line and with a good team around him next year. So that would probably be my favorite fit. And after that would just be the Steelers because they like him. But aside from that, I'm not high on Malik Willis.
What about Seattle with their quarterback debacle?
Don't like that. Don't like that. And I mean, yeah, everyone's saying, oh, because they had Russell Wilson. But first of all, Pete Carroll is what, like 100 years old? He's not going to take a project rookie quarterback and start developing him for 3 years. That's not going to happen.
No, I'm saying that because Drew Lock sucks.
Yeah, but is Malik Willis better?
Probably.
Yeah, probably, maybe a little, but the Seahawks have so many needs. It's like, what are you really doing here, throwing this rookie project quarterback into this, dumpster fire?
Yeah.
Yes, Justin.
That offensive line would get him killed by the third game. It is so trash, and they do not want to get better. So I would not. I'm a 49ers fan, and I don't want to see him go to Seattle. Like, damn, bro. Like, Nick Bosa's going to kill you.
That offensive line is what chased Russell Wilson away. You can believe that is for sure. All right, we got to get out of here, believe it or not. I'm going to throw up the last little bit of the draft real quick. Is there anything you want to highlight real quick before we get out of here? Someone that might be a surprise in here.
So I'll go with the fantasy relevant guys because I feel like you guys are probably going to be more interested in that. But whoever the Chiefs take a wide receiver, I would love them for fantasy because, obviously playing with Patrick Mahomes, but there are going to be a lot of really talented wide receivers who are going to be available for them at 29 or 30. So in this mock draft, I have Jahan Dotson. I actually really like that fit. Jahan Dotson kind of plays like Juju Smith-Schuster, but a little bit better. I would love that fit. But also Chris Olave, I just wanted to highlight for a second, going to the Packers. I don't know if the Packers put him up.
My bad. Sorry. Go ahead.
Now, I'll go ahead. Anyway, everyone says the Packers must take a wide receiver with their one of their first round picks, but I just don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to want to bring in this rookie wide receiver. But if they do, I love Chris Olave. He's actually my wide receiver 1 right now, and that's probably going to change by the time draft comes around, just because these wide receivers are so close. But I love Chris Olave, and putting him on the Packers, that'd be very interesting to me.
Oh yeah, especially fantasy wise. I mean, think about that just for a minute. I mean, Sammy Watkins right now is projected number 1 there. Yeah. Definitely like anybody,
gonna get it done.
Anybody that they select at receiver is going to be definitely interesting in fantasy. All right, my friend, we appreciate you. Hopefully we get you on next week. We'll try to work it out. I know it's early for you and I do appreciate it. Let all our fans know where they can find all your great stuff at.
So yeah, you can see my Twitter handle in under my picture right there, Uke_NFL. And then mostly as of now, I'm just writing on Belly Up. I have something else I'm working on, but hopefully I'm going to join probably Dr. Rado soon, or maybe post-draft I'm going to start writing some rookie profiles. But as of now, just go to my author page on Belly Up. I got like almost 100 scouting reports there. I got a scouting guide there, so you can definitely check me out over there.
Yeah, Uke is on fire with the fantasy articles, to say the least. All right, well, we're going to get out of here soon. Nick, do you got something you got going on soon?
I always got stuff going on soon.
Yeah.
But I think the most immediate thing I have going on soon is you can find me this Sunday evening on the Belly Up Fantasy Live Baseball at 8:30. I'll be guest hosting with Kevin Wilson, and we'll be discussing all things baseball, controversy, real baseball, and fantasy baseball.
Justin, how about you, sir?
Oh, yeah. Dynasty Brews every Thursday at 9:30. We go live on Belly Up on Saturdays at 9 a.m.
Fred, host of the NFL NLFA today. We'll be hosting that. Actually, that just happened on Friday. So we'll be seeing you next week on that. My bad, bro. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys. You appreciate you getting up early. We are out.